you cut me too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. Yo, it's fun.
All right, it's time to dust off our Dave Matthews Band greatest hits and talk about Mayhem.
What?
Let's discuss.
Next thing you're going to tell me is Dave Matthews Band is good?
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say Dave Matthews Band is good, but I prefer Samara Weaving's musical tastes in this film, let's just say.
I don't know how she sings. I don't know.
I don't know. So that's right. We're talking about Mayhem, and I'm going to let Evil do a brief plot synopsis the best way he knows how, and we'll get into this motherfucking super sweet Joe Lynch flick.
All right. Mayhem is a Joe Lynch masterpiece where corporate America is smashed up against quarantine, essentially, when a super virus that pretty much all it does is just drop all inhibitions and make you more animal-like in your impulses and instincts. So things you wouldn't normally do, you know, like jack off in front of all your employees or punch somebody in the face just because of how they smell or something. You'll just instinctively go ahead and do it. You won't have that little mental block anymore. So this is what happens when a high-paying corporate office is quarantined for 8 hours and chaos ensues, starring Walking Dead Steven Yeun.
Fantastic. And our new, I don't want to call her our patron saint, but she's quickly moving into Linnea Quigley status for me, even though I've never seen her naked. The lovable.
Wait, you've never seen Samara Weaving naked?
I haven't. The lovable, adorable, wonderful Samara Weaving. She's fucking incredible.
We'll have to remix or I will have to just put that in the Discord then, so Raj can officially mark that off the list.
I recently watched Babysitter, and I didn't realize she was in that. I only knew that King Bach was in it, or Bach, that Vine star from forever ago.
King Bach. There's a such thing as a Vine star?
Dude, Viners are the shit, bruh.
Viners?
Viners.
Oh, God, I want to kill myself. I want to kill myself. I wish I had ID 7 so I could fucking just hang myself right now.
That's the most Remix has ever sounded, I'm sure, exactly like her daughters.
Dude, bruh, Vine is wicked rad.
How do you know I'm not both of your daughters at once?
That I honestly don't know.
It's mine has a much different sense of humor.
Right. So this
At least
week,
they didn't say TikTok.
TikTok. No one likes TikTok except for all of our teenage daughters. So
I don't even know if mine are into that.
Not anymore. Like, yeah, this shit is like,
I don't know if they ever got into it, honestly.
It's like a flash in the pan. Whether you're a Vine fan, Vine died, I guess, and then now TikTok is the new Vine.
Roger's daughters are TikTokers.
I have daughters?
You have one.
You had daughters?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You might have two.
So TikTok is the ultimate warrior of apps?
I guess. Yeah, so we're going to get into Mayhem, which if you're new to this show, you might not have picked up on the fact that we champion and love Adam Green and Joe Lynch. You know, we love Holliston. We love the Movie Crypt podcast. We love all of their bodies of work. And this movie is no exception. We actually have a very awesome story of Evil's first time viewing of this film. So I thought I would kick the podcast off with you telling that story because it's just a really good one.
We were at a film festival that was in town. At the time, we were making our hockey masks, so we were making those as vendors there, and we got 2 passes to any movie we wanted for that weekend. And that has happened to be the weekend that Adam Green and Joe Lynch were in town promoting their new cinemas and there for meet and greets and whatnot. And you had already seen Mayhem at this point when it was being premiered at this film festival. yeah, you're like, have you seen it? And I'm like, of course not, I've not seen it. When have I had time to see it? And I was like, I'd have to go to a store and buy a copy of this thing that I didn't even know was out really yet. So I was like, no, I have not seen it. He was like, we're going to go to that screening. We're going to use our passes and go to a screening of this movie. So after several times asking him, like, we're gonna go do that, right? We're gonna do that. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. I was hesitant because we only had the 2 passes, and I didn't want to leave the wife out in the lurch at her table. But she was like, go ahead, go in there and see this movie. So we go in, sit down in this very small, very intimate theater environment at this place we went to for this film festival. And then in comes Joe Lynch, and he's hosting the screening of this movie, which begins and ends with long just Q&As and conversations with Joe, which it's not like he's standing 40 feet away and we're asking questions on a microphone. You could literally stand up and in a normal speaking voice ask a question and he'd hear you. And they had a lot of couches and shit set up for like the first 3 rows of seating, so he would just come and sit down on the couch and bullshit with you. Mm-hmm. So it was very, very unique in the aspect of I've not had a quote-unquote celebrity be that super rad to a group of unknown fans.
Mm-hmm. The one thing you miss out on in such a close environment, no hecklers. Nobody's really got the balls to stand up and be like, that's some bullshit to someone's face.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm pretty sure that person would be tossed by the rest of the theater if someone even did try that on Joe Lynch. Some people I could understand it, maybe even laugh like just like Nelson at him, just ha ha. But not Joe. But not Joe or Adam. Never.
Yeah. Step the fuck up, get Joe lynched.
Yeah, the thing about them is they really do make you feel like you are a friend. Like you're just hanging out, watching a movie with friends. And when we were there and we're watching this movie, it's extremely personable. Like, I think you put it best one time we were talking about this, and you said, like, short of him, kicking his shoes off and, hanging his coat on your coat rack and, like, coming into your living room, like, this is, like, almost as personable as it gets. Like, you're hanging out, you're fucking slapping hands with him, giving him hugs, throwing out deep cuts, and he's catching them, and it's just like, he's this amazing person who makes you feel like you belong in that film family, and it's the best feeling in the world to be in their company.
Yeah, because anytime you even roll up to him, like he's hanging out outside of the theater, like just bullshitting with random people that are out there, and everyone that rolls up within arm's length of him, he's like, "Hi, I'm Joe Lynch. What's your name?"
Yeah,
it's like, we know who you are.
Right. Yeah, and sidebar on that, we were all hanging out outside before the film started, and I was responding to some text messages, and at the time I had that Vigo the Carpathian film case. I was not even paying attention to Joe, and he just comes up and he goes, hold on a second. Do you have a fucking Vigo the Carpathian phone case? I'm like, yes, I do. He's like, that is awesome. So, yeah, we definitely have a soft spot for Joe, but make no mistake, our fandom, our allegiance to Joe, I don't think it clouds our judgment when it comes to his cinema. I was actually talking last night to Mrs. DeMarco and to Remix, and I said, I love Adam Green, right? But I think
which I feel that's a conversation that starts constantly around your house of just out of nowhere. It's like, hey babe, I love Adam Green, right?
It does. So much so that when I was working on film sets, the director that I worked with would just walk up to me and go, Adam Green, Adam Green, Adam Green, Adam Green, because that's literally the type of shit that comes out of my mouth. But what I was saying is, I think Joe Lynch might be a better director than Adam.
Ooh, shit.
I think he really understands how to direct an action sequence. And this movie is filled to the brim with extremely well-executed action sequences.
My retort to that is, I think that Adam is not necessarily nearly as serious as Joe. Joe's movies can be extremely serious with the levity in it, whereas Adam's are all fucking funny the entire time. Even Frozen is almost entirely, like, humor.
But it's heavy, though.
But it's funny.
I don't get as much humor, I guess, out of Frozen as Remix does. I feel like he's Cape Fearing it inside that theater, just laughing the whole time at Frozen while everyone's like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I watched Frozen recently with someone, and they were laughing the entire way through it. The guy jumps off, and he falls like a fucking pencil straight off the fucking chairlift. That's pretty fucking goofy looking.
That's how you would fall.
Looking like a pencil.
Looking like a pencil.
No, absolutely not. That's how you break your legs.
Hashtag looking like a pencil.
I wouldn't know how to fall. Like, I guess I maybe would try to lean on a hip, but then I definitely know I'm breaking a hip.
Yeah, instead of both fucking legs.
I don't know if I'm going to walk better with a. I don't know if I'm going to walk better with a broken hip as opposed to 2 broken legs.
You're not going to walk at all.
So, getting back to Mayhem, and you brought it up already. You said this is starring Walking Dead's giant hecka chunkin' mega superstar, Steven Yeun.
Good old Glenn.
Good old Glenn. How do you feel about him in this movie? Do you think that he does a good job carrying the movie, or do you feel like he should kind of stick to TV land?
Wow, what a horrible question to ask.
Yeah, I think he did fine. After like the first probably 10, 15 minutes, he kind of washes off that Walking Dead mentality, and you kind of go with him in the new role. Mm-hmm. For me, anyway. Yeah,
he does a really good job of in that beginning where he's like, all I wanted to do was get ahead and make my name in this company. And he's like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and then within the middle of the montage, he's miserable, he's beat down, realizing that's not what he wanted at all. And
corporate America has taken its stronghold on him.
Mm-hmm. And then he does a really great thing when he decides to officially help out Samara Weaving. He kind of goes through that redemption very early in the film.
I like he has that corporate backstabbing mentality down pretty quick, though, because he's like filming that dude hooking up with some chick at a Christmas party the year previously, and he's like, this will come in handy one day. I'm going to save it on my phone until the day comes.
Mm-hmm. That's some sneaky shit.
I feel like it's been like 8 months, and it's like nothing has popped up, and this one time he's like, yeah, I'm tired of listening to this guy bitch at his secretary.
Well, let me pose this question. I suppose it's kind of tough to answer, but let's say you were at your place of employment and you were infected with the ID7 virus. What do you think would be the first thing that you would do with your fucking inhibitions lowered?
I definitely have a hit list of people that are going to get severely injured, if not outright murdered.
How about you, Remix?
Oh yeah, no, fucking necks are getting snapped.
Yeah, it's a definite list of at least 5 people, and that's off the top of my head. I know who's first too.
They know they're getting a real fucking head kick as soon as I'm getting that shit. Like I throw head kicks at work that come within inches of people.
It'd be like no mercy. Yeah, I think if I was infected, it would just be a bloodbath. I don't know that I'd be able to control myself. I would probably be the guy, I'd be like on the roof masturbating and then fucking just roundhouse kicking police officers and a giant list of other people.
By the way, my boss listens to this podcast.
Your boss can get it too. Just letting you know.
Just edit that part out. Go with the masturbating off the roof thing, which is it just because you want to watch like the fucking the yogurt fly off the roof? What's the benefit, I guess, or the draw of whacking one off on the roof?
I want to spit yogurt as far as I can.
I'm gonna you know that thing you do when you're a kid and you spit and then try to suck it back up?
The penis does not work that way.
Well, then I'll fling it like a fly fishing rod and try to...
Oh, I more pictured you'd like know someone's car and you try to aim for their car.
If you're getting it all the way to the parking lot, even if it's like a fucking 4-foot wide walking space, you got some fucking reach, dog.
Hey, never question what I can do with my
wind
semen.
resistance.
Wind resistance, yeah, it depends on what season of the year it is. You happen to be on the roof doing this. How high is this roof? Are you putting any like hip swivel in right at the moment of eruption? Like
right,
it's like Indiana Jones whip.
It's all in the hips. # Happy Gilmore reference. Deep cut.
Which of the three of us you think would have the most distance?
Probably you. I'm gonna go because you got
Why me?
I think because you got the height advantage. I'm assuming that.
How does height have anything to do with this?
I don't know. I'm thinking from a physics.
I think it's got an extra like 6 inches to get to the ground lower. Like that you're about that much shorter. Like yours is gonna hit quicker.
Maybe I don't
know. I feel like force and buildup would propel a lot further than necessarily my height.
So you got to pinch the tip. You see, this is what happens when we fucking we decide we're going to talk about a movie. Now all of a sudden we're talking about me with my want and desire to jerk off on the roof. Good fucking God. So where do
Inhibitions have been dropped. We've all been injected with this virus before we started recording today.
Right. So where are we going from here? Inhibitions are lowered. What stones do you want to overturn or whatever with this movie?
Well, we can keep the semen kind of theme going, and there is a scene later on where Steven Yeun is doing a pretty rad video call recording to his boss, and you see, of course, chaos and people doing wild shit in the background. There is a couple apparently legitimately fucking in the background.
Yeah, and Joe let us know that was for real. They were really having sex.
Because he could smell it.
Yeah. Because he's like, you know what sex smells like? You could smell it on the set, which we all know that smell.
Which is great. That's his basis for proof. Like all it is, like stinks like sex over here.
Within like a 6-foot radius of the fucking fax machine.
Yeah.
And another great thing about this movie and Joe Lynch is that. This was the second film, I believe, that he filmed in, was it Serbia?
Yeah, Serbia.
Right.
That and his previous film, Everly, were both filmed in Serbia because it was a lot cheaper to film over there. And, of course, while he was over there, he had to ask anyone that was filming anything or part of the business that he has seen and is very much aware of a Serbian film. And everyone over there is like, "You've seen a Serbian film?" Like, yeah, it's infamous over here. We're very much aware of your work.
Gross. It's gross. So him filming in Serbia, there's a lot of benefits to him filming over there because, like you said, it's a lot cheaper. He was able to do a lot of things on camera that if he had chosen to film in LA, for example, it just wouldn't have happened. I think like he used
half the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like half the amount of time is what he would have had in the States.
Like I don't know the specific day amount. I don't know how long it took to film Mayhem, but let's say he had a 36-day shooting schedule in Serbia, that it would have literally been cut in half in America, and you just can't do
That's
what.
Pretty, I think, close. That's fairly, I think, accurate to what he actually had. Was close to a little over a month. He could take his time and do shit in Serbia as opposed to about 2 weeks of cramming everything in the States.
Right, and thank God that he did, because a movie like Mayhem that moves so fast and has so many like unique action sequences and visual effects and things like that, if you were to rush it, I don't think we would have got the same film,
Yeah, I mean, shit. Us making, goofy music videos on the YouTube channel takes about a day, and that's 5 minutes at absolute most, and there's little production value put in that at all. So I can't imagine, exponentially all that put on with money, making sure everything matches up, crew, lighting, all that stuff that we just kind of fly over. It's like we spent all that time doing just silly shit, and
right.
I would definitely want that 30 plus days of make sure I got it, take your time, think slow.
They're professionals. They get paid to do that.
I'm going to have Remix do some research while we're discussing this film. Remix, can you tell me...
Technically, so are we.
What $1 American is worth in Serbia? Like, what's the, exchange rate, I guess? And
probably not as good as Bratislava.
A Serbian dinar is 0.0094 USD.
All right. So... You're getting like $10 to the dollar ish, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure if a dinar is a penny or what.
I don't know.
I kind of feel like Pauly Short in the army now. Like, why isn't everyone filming in Serbia at that rate?
Right. And since we talked about Stephen Yeun, let's move on to Samara Weaving. How do you think she did in this film?
Did fine. In like Bill and Ted Face the Music, it's a little bit easier to tell she's trying to hide a natural accent. This one, it's that kind of thing where when I hear her speaking naturally in her normal accent, it's like, whoa, you don't sound like that in the movie.
It's a little jarring. Have you seen Ready or Not yet?
Yes, I have.
Fucking amazing. She does a great job. She is like quickly carving her way into the horror scene as being a really hip, smart, funny final girl.
Oh yeah, like her best fucking line in Mayhem is when after they murder the treadmill boss and she takes her shoes and she's like, these things are comfy as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like that's the most female like thing that like I hear that, I definitely think that's definitely what your wife and my wife, what they would be saying in that moment.
I'm so confused by Serbian currency. It says that the dinar is subdivided into 100 para, so I can't tell if our currency is worth 94 cents versus $1 or if it's fucking super fucking inflated, but they have some weird currency and I hate it.
You know what we should do?
It's gotta be something wild for him to be like, I'm gonna go on location and film for a month in this way the fuck out there place. So it's gotta be that like 100 to 1 exchange rate kind of thing.
Remix, what we should do, you should contact Joe Lynch. We should bring him on the show, and we should pick his brain about what it's like to film in Serbia and ask him if he wants to move in.
Jump Street?
You want to move into the video store, please?
Joe Lynch, if you're listening, we love you, buddy. You need to move in.
I thought for sure, initially, when you started that, I thought you were going to go with contact the American, contacts over in Serbia. Tell them we're making a film for
That's exactly
X
what I was
amount of
thinking.
money and what that...
Why go through all the middlemen? I just want to talk to Joe Daddy.
4.5-star hotel, $42.
There you go.
So
For a night?
yeah,
Or a week?
So you got, Joe's in there just fucking eating like caviar and shit. $42. Well,
Dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Why aren't we just moving to Serbia now?
and be away from your wife and kids for a month?
dude, this fucking hotel looks nice. Balkan Hotel Garni. It looks like a fucking palace. $38 a night.
We could take what we make maybe in a really decent live stream and go all spend a night over in a Serbia 4-star hotel.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. All right, you heard it here first, podcast listeners. We're going to Serbia. So since we talked about the two leads, I was going to kind of ask you, Evil, if you do have one, a favorite fight sequence in this movie. Like one that sticks out to you, one that you like the most.
Probably HR, because I definitely utilized that line between HR and Steven at my personal job all the time of, I'm just going to have to file all that under N for not my fucking problem.
Yeah, dude, there's so many quotable things in this movie. And I think it's important to say that when you watch an Adam Green or a Joe Lynch movie, that what you're seeing on the surface may be chaotic and violent and funny, but they always manage to kind of sneak in their mantra of not settling and chasing after your dream before it's too late, or that it is never too late, to go after what you really think you're worth. And I think that's why we gravitate towards them so much, is because amidst all that chaos and wild shit that's on screen, you always walk away kind of feeling like motivated You know, it's weird, like Holliston or Mayhem or even like Digging Up the Marrow or Hatchet, any of those films, they kind of like pump me up to want to create and keep going.
Indeed, and something that definitely helps a great deal on this film that I feel as much as a character as Steven and Samara are, the fucking score.
So good.
There was a guy that was at that screening that brought a record of the score to get signed by Joe, and I was like, I'm kind of curious how this thing sounds, and it is fantastic. It is very Carpenter 80s-esque.
Yeah, it's got that fucking high energy synth wave. I forget the composer, and I feel like a dickhead. Remix will have to bring that up, and I'll be like, yep.
Yep.
But Remix, do you have a favorite showdown fight sequence, anything like that in this movie?
No,
he says.
I don't know. I wasn't thinking
I was about to say
Mayhem.
Remix.
He's looking.
Make more coffee.
Yeah. This fucking phone's broken.
I don't know. I'm a big fucking fan of the entire movie. Like I was gonna say when they're using the nail gun against the Reaper, but then I was like, the basement stuff is pretty cool. Where he's like even that less actiony moment where he's putting together a fucking Frankenphone, like.
Yeah, it's edited. It's got that like Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright.
Oh yeah,
and that we're big fans of that. Like anytime you can cover a long period of time with that fast, like make it exciting, like brushing your teeth and taking a piss in Shaun of the Dead. It's like fucking you watch that and you're like, that was rad. Like all he did was brush his teeth and take a piss.
Composed by Steve Moore.
Steve Moore. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, we definitely need to pick up that soundtrack on some iteration, whether it be, I'm not necessarily a vinyl snob, but picking it up on vinyl would not be a bad idea.
Pick it up on cassette.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a cassette player in my car, so I can totally rock a cassette of Mayhem.
I can buy the CD and make you a cassette with my boombox.
Boom, there it is, right there.
There it is.
Cassette players.
Just
That's strange.
stream the YouTube score on it and just put that on a tape and give me the tape.
Yep, no problem. I think my favorite fight sequence is in the middle of The Office when
don't underestimate someone who has a smaller paycheck than you.
Mm-hmm. When they bring out all the reinforcements and Stephen Young and Samara go fucking toe to toe with all those people. I love the way that's edited. I love the like random switches to slow motion. And anytime you're like beating someone to death with like a stapler or whatever, you know, that type of stuff is fucking amazing to me. And that sequence is badass because it's like they try to give each other an out. Like, we don't have to do this, you know, almost like we don't have to fight. And then it just gets ramped up and then they just fucking boom, and it's amazing. It reminds me of some shit like 300, like just people just clashing, blah.
And it's very much filmed. I think it was even accidental necessarily. He wasn't necessarily going for it, but it's filmed very much like Game of Death. Like they're just trying to get to the top floor of this building, and they got boss ways they got to go through every single way on the way up.
That's an excellent reference. The old because that's a Bruce Lee film that didn't get finished. If I'm right, that was his last film.
That's the one he filmed part of, and then they had some terrible ideas of putting like a superimposed head of him on a body.
The old Bruce
using stunt doubles and shit. Like it looks terrible.
Right, the old Bruce Lie.
That's the movie they finished without him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bruce Lie.
Yep. I got a buddy who collects Bruce Lee movies, and which there's not very many, you know, because he
like
wasn't he wasn't in the game very long. But my buddy has this massive collection because all of the Bruce Lie movies, all of the bullshit where they were trying to pass off people as Bruce Lee, he just has this giant collection of all these like super schlocky bullshit kung fu movies. And you know, this was pre-fucking internet and all that stuff, so if you saw Bruce Lee's name on something, you just assumed he was in it. And so he had all this stuff, and then we would like go to watch these movies and be like, that ain't fucking Bruce Lee. That guy's like pudgy or what, you know, whatever. But he bought everything that had Bruce's name on it.
Man, could you imagine if that was done like over here with somebody big over here? Like imagine if we lost Arnold Schwarzenegger in like 1989. and Danny DeVito started just playing movies that putting off that he was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well,
True
dude,
Lies with Danny DeVito.
dude, we're not that far off. What was it? Paul Walker died. So then they brought in his brother and then CG'd Paul Walker's face on him for like one of the Fast and the Furious movies, or they do
That's
that.
like that's like for a scene. I'm talking like a full 90-minute movie where like this is Arnold Schwarzenegger and it's just Danny DeVito trying to do an Austrian accent while shooting a guy off a fucking on a missile jet.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Have you seen those Corridor Digital videos where they deep fake celebrities onto stunt actors?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stuff's wild.
Yeah.
I've seen the Control Alt Face YouTube channel where they do that, where they put like Jim Carrey in The Shining.
Right. Well, didn't they do that for Carrie Fisher in one of the Star Wars movies? I don't know. I'm not a Star Wars head, but didn't
they did it with Tarkin as well. That was for Rogue One.
So did she film anything for the movie, or did they just...
No, she was already dead at that point, I believe.
So they just brought in a CGI Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, they did the same thing for fucking Logan. They've been doing full CG characters of real-life people for a while.
That's a weird thing, man. Like, think about that. If you can find someone who can do a decent enough impression... I mean, they totally did it in Bill and Ted, even though it was a brief snippet. Like, they have the real line from the movie of Rufus saying, "Greetings, my excellent friends," but when the camera passes, that's totally a voice actor being like, this was the same, But...
Probably thinking more like that dude that they've cast for that fan film, that Death Wish knockoff, that dude who looks super, like, identical to Charles Bronson.
That is fucking
like
terrifying.
Death Kiss. Yeah, but cool, too.
Yeah, Death Kiss, right? That's what you said?
I think so. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaky how much he looks like Charles Bronson. And I haven't heard him say any words, so I don't know. But how hard is a Charles Bronson impression?
I think we watched it. And there's there's like a super prolonged gunfight / chase through a junkyard that takes way longer than it ever should. But he's pretty spot on in every aspect of being Charles Bronson.
Nice.
That's the only thing I remember from the movie. And like, this gunfight in this junkyard is taking way too fucking long, and nobody's hitting anybody. All these gunshots are going off, and no one's getting shot.
Oh, that's how you pad it, man. You got to have that padding.
Put in God mode on that gun with unlimited ammunition.
Right. Well, the one thing about Mayhem is that there is no padding in this movie. There is no fat on this movie. Can you think of any scene in this movie where you're like, all right, let's wrap it up, let's hurry up? Like, it just...
Literally the only thing I can possibly think of, and it's just a line, and it's when they, after the Frankenphone scene, and they're like, go down there and bust them up, and those two guys bust through the door, and Samara Weaving goes on the phone, like, yeah, I'd like to order 2 pizzas, and I was like, oh my gosh, really, the 2 pizzas line? Like, you couldn't have come up with anything else? That's the only thing that I can think of.
Right, yeah. See, there's no fat because it has a extremely fast pace. It feels like you're on the virus, like you have the virus when you're watching the movie, because it's edited together in such a way that's so like frenetic and intense that there aren't many moments of levity. The only real moments of levity I can think of are when they're holding up in the hallway, and that's when they have the Dave Matthews Band conversation, which apparently a bunch of that was ad-libbed. Joe just kind of let them go.
Oh yeah.
Which is amazing.
They were filming, like, they were setting up lighting, and that's a Joe Lynch, like, time killer. Like, he'll just think of something and be like, yeah, top 3 bands, go, what you got? Just quick conversation bits. And they were doing that during a lighting scene, and he liked it so much he went home and kind of typed that entire impromptu conversation out, and then gave it to him the next day, like, we're going to do that, but this is going to be the dialogue. We're waiting for this elevator, because initially it was just them waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But then after this conversation they had while doing lighting, he's like, I like this, I'm going to put it in the movie.
And that's the one thing about, like, again, I keep going back to that. The Joe Lynch and the Adam Green formula is there's a lot of personal stuff. It's a lot of fan service, but it's a lot of their real personalities shining through. Like you said, that's a game that he likes to play, and it worked its way into the movie. A lot of the things that they go through or that they say on a daily basis sneak their way into these movies. And then it's like, it goes from being like a private in thing that they do to kind of spreading to the audience. So then the audience feels like they're doing it with Adam or Joe, which is kind of how we get down when we do the prop game and stuff like that. And we want to include you guys and kind of create this little in thing that only a few people know about. And it's fucking rad.
Did you ever tell Remix about Joe Lynch's game in that movie?
I don't think
he told us about at the screening.
I don't think I did.
What is these?
It'll give Remix something to do. Because he was away from his kids, one of his kids, or his son, I believe, gave him a little Ewok Star Wars figurine, like the one that's like yay big, and took that with him. And he would always like phone call and have that Ewok. And apparently, and I believe our buddy Dustin found all three, but I want to say there's 3 times in the movie that he has hidden a little Ewok Star Wars figure that's in frame. You can see at least all of it or part of it, but there's 3 shots where that Ewok is in the movie.
Those things are fucking tiny. How can you even see that shit?
You see, and
it's been found.
That's that fan.
He told us where one was, and I can't remember where our buddy found the other one at.
Mm-hmm. That's that fan service, but it's an in thing. You know, his son wanted him to take it, so it's like, oh, if you miss me, Dad, you know, take out this little toy and you know, you'll think of me. As you know how kids do. A young kid will kind of do. And obviously that touched Joe, and so then he put it in the movie. One, so when his son is old enough to watch that movie, his son can look for it. And it's an in thing between him and his son. But then it becomes this intimate thing with the audience of, you never know, that fucking Ewok might show up in my next movie. Or my next movie. You gotta be looking. And then if you find it, you're in the club. You're in that cool kid club. And I fucking love that. I adore that.
You're in the little Easter egg club. But there's your challenge, Remix. Find the Ewoks.
I'll post it in the description. Like at the very bottom of the description. If it says Remix has completed the challenge, then you know I did it. Before this episode goes live, you'll know.
You'll know. There was something else.
Oh man, you only got a couple months then, Remix.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Only got 12 weeks.
Right. There was something else I was going to bring up. So now that we've spent the better part of 40 minutes discussing the film, now we're going to cut into a little segment we like to do called the Amazon 1-Star Reviews.
Hated it.
So yeah, we talked about how much we love this film. Let's see what some people thought that didn't care a great deal for this particular film, and they're totally wrong, and we wish we could have the time to tell them why. Shelly Turk, February 28th, 2019, 1 star. This sucks. I wish I could get my $3.99 back. I was robbed.
Jesus.
I don't... Salty much?
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this place.
Halloween 4 reference. Deep cut.
Next up, we got Alexis on October 18, 2019. 1 star. Poop. She goes on to say, poop.
Poop, poop.
But why?
Yes, enlighten us. You went on Amazon and
in-depth analysis of this movie.
Poop. People order our
product.
Yes.
People.
I wanted so much to mark that helpful as opposed to report. Like, yeah, shit. And I called this shit poop.
Billy Madison reference. Deep cut.
This movie is poo.
Philip J. Mayo, February 2nd, 2018. 1 star. No digital copy.
That's it? No digital copy?
Yeah.
All right.
No digital copy.
You crybaby bitch.
Oh, no. Hold on. I forgot. He did have a description. A 4K copy without a digital redemption code? How archaic.
It's almost as bad as not having a slipcover.
I'm triggered.
I want to see a modern movie come out with one of those stupid cardboard clip cases.
Just everyone, all collectors would have a fucking aneurysm.
This one I did not understand at all.
All right, so I'm excited for this one then.
Ripley S. on January 7th, 2018 says 1 star. Steven Yeun is in it.
That's it?
True.
There is a way to do a dumb, campy thriller like this and have it be good. This isn't it. If you like Transformers, this would be up your alley.
What?
I don't think so.
Otherwise, don't bother wasting your money.
I think he missed the demographic. Because
You don't like Transformers?
I fucking hate the movie Transformers. I love the cartoon.
You heard it here first.
You
The
didn't
next
specify
episode's on
which one.
Transformers.
Fuck you.
Starscream.
Oh, we're getting ready to do a Transformers retrospective series is what we're doing.
Oh God, I'm out. I'm sick.
Starting
that
with
month.
the cartoon movies.
Yeah, let's analyze all of the Transformers franchise, starting with the cartoons.
I'll be
Analyze it.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be there for the first month.
Yeah, I'll say it. I'm not a fan of the cartoon movies. I prefer the show itself, just not the fucking movies.
Gotcha. I like that old school
All right.
stuff. I don't like the new.
I got one more, and this is as in-depth as it possibly could get. This is from Khalid on October 21st, 2017. 1 star. Garbage film.
Garbage film fan.
Not too many 1 stars I could find for this movie. That's about the best, the cream of the crop right there, as Mach would say.
Cream of the crop does rise.
Rises to the top. Ooh yeah, baby.
They were all in the big time for a cup of coffee.
Well, now that we've wrapped up the Amazon 1-star reviews, Evil, do you know what that means?
I think it's time.
Is it time remix?
It's time to play the game.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
It's all about the game. You know you play it. It's all about it. I'm Triple H and I play it.
I'm Triple H and I play it. All right. By now, you should know what the prop game is, so we're not going to run through the rules, the regulations, all that.
Restrictions.
Yeah, all that hoopla. We're just going to jump right into it. Who wants to start first with their prop from the film?
I'll take that because from this film Mayhem, for amusement's sake and for saving space, I will take some of the cocaine that the boss is doing on his desk.
I also will take cocaine, but not from this movie. Just kidding. I don't even know what cocaine looks like. I got nothing.
Is it shitty to want the Reaper's cane?
No.
'Cause I feel like that's the one
No.
big thing in the movie. There's like no standout
The
prop
brass
that should
knuckles
be
are
off limits.
I think the brass knucks with that nail gun are pretty stand out.
I thought about the nail gun too.
All right, so you want the Reaper's cane, and fucking Evil outed me. I want the Bull's brass knuckles.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Nothing wrong with that. His 3 o'clock high nod there to that movie with the brass knucks.
Old Buddy Revell.
That is a good movie. I'd not seen that till the wife introduced me to it, so I was new to it probably within the last 5 or so years. But it's I can see why it's a classic. Mm-hmm. I asked Joe if the nod to the nail gun was a Lethal Weapon 2 thing. He goes, "Yeah, I believe so."
I believe so.
Sure, if you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, "Is that your nod to Lethal Weapon 2 and that nail gun, murder, killing, and that?" And he's like, "I can definitely see that, yeah. That may be a subconscious level thing."
Nice.
My choice was kind of a three-way choice. I was caught between the handle of the mug after it gets broken, the nail gun, just so I could make the joke about I can finally figure out why the fuck movie nail guns shoot without the fucking trigger being depressed when you have to press it up against a piece of fucking wood to actually use it, or the cane, but I don't know, I think that'd be cool to have.
Yeah, that would be sweet. And it would be a deep cut. Like, only a handful of people would understand. Otherwise, other people would just be like, "Why do you have a cane?" And then you would have to fucking explain it to them.
Why do you have powdered sugar in a small packet on your wall? Like, because there's this dude who just would throw it all up his fucking face and then smash a golf club on his desk and smash his phone, then complain the phone isn't working. And then he has allergies.
Yes. So now that we've gotten through our movie discussion, we've gotten through the Amazon 1-star reviews, and we've gotten through the game, there's really nothing left to discuss about the movie except for final thoughts. So, Evil, do you want to give some final thoughts on the film?
It's fucking excellent. Buy it today. You will not regret it. Ever.
Truth.
Fast-paced editing, high-octane action.
I've actually gave people a thing that and be like, if you buy this and don't like it, I'll buy it back from you. I'm that confident in it.
I could second that.
Yeah, my final thoughts on it is it's a super fast-paced flick, like you said, Remix. It's high octane. It's just a really good time. It's the type of movie you can shut your brain off and just really enjoy, but it does have an underlying message. It does have a theme. It does have something to say. And it might have the message that you're looking for and you don't even realize you're looking for it. So it's one of those movies that I feel like everyone should see. Just like you said, we're so confident in that. When we had the opportunity to see the screening with Joe Lynch, and you were like, I don't really know if I want to go see a movie tonight. And I was like, listen, bro, like, you've got to see this movie. One, you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't see it with Joe Lynch. Two, it's fucking phenomenal. And there is no better place to see that movie than in a fucking small theater, sitting on a couch right next to Joe Lynch, who's pointing at the screen, telling you about little funny things. It was one of those experiences that was kind of life-changing for us. And I know that this movie will forever kind of hold a soft spot for us because of the circumstances in which we saw it with Joe Lynch. So it's very special to me and Evil, and we got to pass that on to Remix, and hopefully we get to pass that on to you. If you haven't seen this movie and you've listened to us kind of ramble and rant and go off topic and try to come back on topic, hopefully we piqued your interest. And if you don't want to spring the money to pick it up, just hop on Shudder and give it a watch. Because
get you a free trial and watch it there for free if you don't want to pay for it.
Because you will not regret it.
No, I actually bought the Blu-ray the next day at that show from Joe and had him sign both copies, like the slipcover and the actual disc.
Mm-hmm. It's a very important movie to us. And hopefully it will be to you guys as well. But on that note, I suppose we should probably get going because, after all, there's a lot of movies out there and somebody's got to watch them. So why not us, right?
Not my fucking problem.
Now it's a party! Oh my god! Yes!